Right, time to add my redundant thoughts to the pile. It's Missing Link Arcee, prototype version. The existence of this figure is mind-blowing to me. I've had this for a few weeks now and still can't believe it is in my hands. Look, it's right here. As a kid, the '86 movie was a big deal for me. I watched it over and over on video and was well into the toys. My friends had most of them, I just had Springer, Hot Rod and Rodimus Prime. Still got my childhood Springer and Rodimus, but Hot Rod didn't make it. One figure felt conspicuously absent back then. Arcee was nowhere to be found, and she was very much a figure I wanted. She was prominent in the film and season 3 of the cartoon. I just assumed she was a figure we didn't get in the UK. It wasn't until years later, when the internet was a thing, that I discovered that there never was an Arcee toy. But there almost was. Unknown to us at the time was that a figure had been designed and reached prototyping stage. Allegedly, it never saw the light of day due to Hasbro's policies of boys think girls are stinky. But I think the film not doing amazingly and people wanting Optimus Prime back probably led to some hasty plan changes. Although it was also weird they made a Hot Rod toy in red instead of pink. That error got corrected a couple of years ago, and thankfully, with the Missing Link line, Takara have fixed the other big error. Again, here is a G1 Arcee in my hands, and she's beautiful. I went for the orange and pink prototype based colour scheme because in my head that's the colour the toy was going to be, but only due to my impressions of the never produced figure being coloured by some grainy pics of the actual prototype that appeared online years ago. Like, I never saw a G1 Arcee toy in her classic pink and white, so this is the colour scheme I associate with that toy. And doesn't she look stunning? The colours are spot on to how I thought they'd be, and the overall sculpt is extremely G1 toy styled. I love that it didn't go too far and try to overcomplicate the design to make it more slick or modern. They clearly thought about what the G1 toy would have been like and made most of their choices based on that. From what I've heard, they only had those prototype pics to go on too. The original styrofoam model had apparently been destroyed. Her design takes cues from the earlier movie designs, with the sterner looking face and the shoulder armour going over the front of her arms. I have vague memories of that being how she was shown in the Transformers Universe book I had as a kid. Answer on a postcard if that's correct. Details wise, I do like the red on the thighs and the faux wheels as knees. I love when a figure has wheels that look like they're a joint, like how Power of the Prime Swindle has his wheels in his shoulder area. Around the back there's next to no kibble at all, just this one panel hovering above her polygonal PS1 posterior. It's kind of funny how it took a comparatively simple G1 design to create an Arcee without a huge backpack. I'm looking at you, Kingdom Arcee. And Titan's Return, and Studio Series, and Thrilling 30. Actually, I'm just looking at Kingdom Arcee because that's the only one I have. Although I still argue this isn't a bad figure once you detach the backpack chunk. A bad Transformer? Don't get me wrong. Not a bad action figure. Oh yeah, Missing Link Arcee has a face that makes her look like a Katamari cousin, and I can't hate on that. She does seem to have had the back of her head scraped away in some sort of horrific accident though. Posing Arcee is pretty simple, but she may not be the absolute articulated knockout some of her Missing Link brethren are. The head's turning circle is limited, although it does have some solid up and down motion. Shoulders can do a full 360, but will clash with her one bit of back kibble. Arms can only move out 45 degrees, and there's some solid bicep rotation and elbow bending going on. No wrist joints, but this is a pretty thin arm. No waist rotation due to how the tabard-like front panels clip in. Solid leg action though, and she can do high kicks for days and has a thigh rotation in there. Knees bend about as much as you'd want, and there's all the foot articulation, back, forwards and side to side. Although I was concerned she had no ankle tilt out of the box, her ankles come slightly tilted, and they were super stiff to move. This wasn't my first Missing Link rodeo though, so I knew to just put my muscles into it and they'd move. There's always one joint that's tolerant to total tightness on the Missing Link figures. Lastly, before we transform her, I thought I'd be all balanced and critical and say some things I don't think the G1 toy would have had. Other than the articulation, I mean. Firstly, I think she would have been bigger. Limbs this thin weren't super common on G1 toys unless they were tiny. I also think she would have been bulked out slightly, more to Rodimus Prime size than Hot Rod. Secondly, there's some waffling on the inside of the arms. As tiny as a thing as this is, I can't think of any G1 toys from that period that did this without it being to accommodate transformation. Like as a space to lock another part into. She actually has a bit of that on her cars for the fist to slot into. It's not a big deal, but it's a design choice I think probably wouldn't have happened back then. Obviously though, there's probably a load of tiny things on here that wouldn't have happened back then. This is, after all, a figure that's only based on a prototype from 40 years ago. The actual design is almost entirely new, and the fact it feels like an actual G1 toy is a miracle and testament to how good these designers are. Now, let's transform. First, we're untabbing the crutch and opening the chest a little to bring it up over her head. Can then close down this panel where it will tab into place. Next we're folding her heels, a step I often forget until the last minute. Angle up and bring down the central armature. Now slide her knees up until they click. My knees do that all the time without sliding them. Then swing the legs up into the cavity above. Now straighten the arms out and fold them in, clipping them into the thighs as you go. Lastly, we just concertina this back panel over and tab it into the thighs and then raise up her windshield. That's a nice and simple transformation that's pretty on par with the other Missing Link so far. They sort of fall into this G1 with a little extra flair territory, and what a spot on car mode we get out of this. I don't think there's many RC toys that get this sweeping and flat look quite as nicely depicted as this. It looks like how the old cartoon vehicle models looked. There's the tiniest bit of visible panel sneaking out from the front, but it's not a distraction for me. The way it looks like a series of smooth curves formed into the shape of a car from the futuristic year of 2005 is really hitting all the right spots. The colours look great too, the orange and pink shining. Also dig the little bit of red over the wheel arches that match up to the similar patches on her thighs in robot mode. You can fit a Dynaut into her seats, which I now have one of thanks to Missing Link Corden. I suppose it would have been nice if it fit in snugly, but the original toy would not have had a seat for a Dynaut, so it makes sense that this doesn't either. I do like that we get options for weapon storage too. There's some pegs on the back that you can slot the gun into, something that figures back then did have from time to time. There's also a little slot under the car you can pop it into. That's not super G1, but we've seen storage like this on Missing Link, Bumble and Cliff, so I'll allow it. Weirdly, the cartoon colours version of this toy can't do that. This is a delightful release that manages to fill one of the most blatant gaps in a lot of G1 collectors' shelves. When I eventually sort out the mess that is my displays, she would be definitely going on an 86 movie theme shelf. Although I would want a Missing Link shelf too. Maybe try to get the cartoon colours version as well. Oh, what if they repaint her as Nightbird? I'd be on the hook for that too. There's really only one other figure from the 86 movie still waiting for his G1 toy now. It really is starting to feel like only a matter of time before we get that Unicron figure. I didn't even mention the box. It's nice and some neat G1 style artwork of Arcee on it. It's pretty cool that, seeing as there's no real basis for it that we know of. They could have just slapped any art on there, but they went that extra mile. She also comes with a set of stickers which I will not be using. One thing that's kind of odd is that these little circle ones are ripped from the original Blitzwing toy. What's that all about? Overall, this is a strong contender for my toy of the year. Will she be ahead of Missing Link Corden though? That's me trying to get you to subscribe to the channel to find out. I've never done this YouTube game correctly. I ain't going to start now. The next Missing Link release is Ultra Magnus, and yep, we already pre-ordered it. I'm fascinated to find out how that'll work. Probably time they did some Decepticons though. There's a rumour that Galvatron is coming. I'm basically on the hook for at least one of each mould they make, so I guess I'll be getting that. Missing Link has been great, and it's already become an all-timer toy line because it gave me a G1 Arcee in 2025. Something I've wanted since I was a kid. Obviously, I'm quite happy with this. So, thanks for watching. Please do a like and subscribe, and maybe follow me at Wild Wheels Hat on Blue Sky. You should be seeing me real soon on someone else's channel, but I'll try to be back with another review before the end of the year. Catch you later, folks.